approach to risk management, and we understand risk is basically a function of impact and probability. Higher the impact, and depending on the probability, risk would change. So if the impact is high and probability is low of the event, then the risk also is going to be low. But if the impact is high and probability of the event is also very high, that means the risk is also going to be very high, and that would need to be taken care of. We also understood as part of the risk management as to how the control can be used, and control would basically mean nipping the problem in the bud itself. So even before the situation, the event happens, blow it up, and that is control. Mitigation is that in case if the event really happens, then what all can you do, and that is your mitigation. Number third thing, friends, after the assessment and after understanding the process of assessment of risk and understanding approach towards risk management, what the third thing is, what are the risk options that we have for the risk management? So the options that we have for risk management in any business for different risks, number one, it can be tolerate. Now, when I say it can be tolerate, depending on your risk appetite. So, if your risk appetite is strong, and that means you're prepared to take high risk, in that case, you may decide to tolerate. It's all right. Say, for example, when I spoke to you about a company owning 1,000 vehicles and not going for the comprehensive insurance cover, because company has appetite for that kind of risk because of the situation that it is in, because they realize 1,000 vehicles, even if two vehicles meet with an accident and company has to incur the cost of repair of those two vehicles, that cost is going to be far too less in comparison to the amount of premium the company will have to pay for paying the premium for the comprehensive cover. So likewise, friends, a company may be having imports as well as exports. So the imports are denominated in dollar and the exports are also denominated in dollar. Now, and let's say, for example, both the quantum of the imports and the exports is more or less same. Now, this company does not have to worry about taking a forward cover or taking any hedging of the risks. Why? Because there is a natural risk. So company is importing and company is also exporting. For the import, company has to pay in dollars, and for the exports, company has to receive in dollars. So any fluctuation that happens in the rupee dollar relationship, company is not going to be impacted, because if the rupee depreciates, it will get more on the exports on account of the exports, and it will have to pay more on account of the imports. But the quantum of the amount that it is going to pay, receive more on account of exports, it is going to be more or less same of the amount which it will have to pay on the imports, and that's why it's a natural hedge. So this company can decide not to do anything about it. So depending, if your risk appetite is high, what you do, you tolerate the risk. And if your appetite is not so high, then what you can do, then you can treat it. So say for example, you can apply some mitigation. Number three is the transfer of the risk. So and transfer of the risk. So if your risk appetite is low, or the nature of the risk is such that you cannot do anything about it except that you transfer it to someone, right? So all of us would take the insurance for our car or our houses or on our life. And why do we take all those risks, those premium, those policies or insurance policies? Is basically we're trying to transfer the risk to somebody, and that somebody is going to be the insurance company. Insurance company, for them, is their business, and they make money by collecting the premium, and part of that premium they would distribute whenever they have some cases happening of casualty or things like that. And finally, friends, if the risk appetite is not there at all, in that case, what you do, you simply terminate. And what is the terminate? The meaning of terminate is that you don't do that thing at all. You don't do that thing at all. So you exit from that business, or you stop that business, and that is what you would do to cover your risk. So four response options. Number one is tolerate, number two treat, and number three transfer, and number four terminate. And these are the risk responses that you will give to a risk situation. Now, there are certain risk management tools also available for the purpose of risk management. And what these tools are for the purpose of risk management, number one is the brainstorming questionnaires. Now, what is brainstorming questionnaires? Friends, please remember, it is nothing as then we talked about the risk management committee. We talk about involving all the concerned people in the process of risk management of a business. So that means what you do, you prepare a questionnaire and you share this questionnaire with all the experts within the organization and seek their responses to understand from them as to what kind of risks this business is running and what can be done about those risks. And that is number one, which is brainstorming questionnaire. Number two is business and industry benchmarking. So for the purpose of risk management, you also do is you also find out as to what other companies in that industry are doing, and you try and benchmark yourself with what other companies are doing, and you follow the same thing which other companies may be doing. Number three, the tool for the purpose of risk management that you have is audit, inspection, and investigation, and which basically would mean that the likely situation of the risk, you would carry out an audit, or you will do the inspection of that situation, do the investigation of that situation, and take the steps accordingly. Number four is market survey. So you do market survey and find out. Number five is prospecting. Six is test marketing. So these are the tools available. Now, test marketing is what? I mean, you are introducing a new product. Now, how the new product is going to be accepted by your customer? So what you will do? You will do the test marketing, and that means you will first market your product in a very limited area with a limited customer, and gauge their responses. And based on their responses, then you will figure out as to whether this product is going to be accepted by the customers or not, and how it is being received by the customer, what responses they have to this product, and then you use that experience of the test marketing for the full launch of this product. Number seven is business impact assessment, and that means whatever decision that you are taking for the expansion, diversification, modernization, debottlenecking, and whatever research and development capex is. So whatever that you do the impact assessment by doing the causal analysis that we saw a little while ago. Do SWOT analysis. SWOT is strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threat. So that's again a tool which is available for the purpose of risk management. PEST that we talk about, PEST analysis is also a tool that is available for risk management. PESTEL analysis is another tool that is available for the purpose of risk management. And then the event tree management. So event tree management is, you prepare a kind of tree and see if this happens, what is going to happen. If this happens, what is going to happen. If this happens, what is going to happen. And then find out the probabilities of all those events, aggregate them together to come to a conclusion as to what kind of risk that you are carrying. Statistical inferences are available, and you can do threat analysis. So these are the risk management tools which are available to the businesses for the purpose of risk management. Now, what are the risk management practices in real life? So you look at the risk management practices in real life, and so for the purpose of risk management, there are 9 rules that I would like to share with you for the purpose of risk management. And those 9 rules are: number one, there is no return without risk. We all understand, we all have heard it so many times, and we need to remember, there is no return without risk. Rewards go to those who take risks. No pain, no gain. And that is what you need to remember when you are contemplating or looking at the risk management of your organization. Number two, rule number 2 for the risk management in practice is be transparent. Risk should be fully understood. So you can never afford to be overconfident, and you should never afford to be arrogant as far as the risk is concerned. So be transparent. So do not try to hide anything from your side. as far as the risk is concerned. Number three is seek experience. And what is the meaning of seek experience? That it's a matter of risk management, and risk management, remember, is a different ball game altogether. And therefore, if you have to do the risk management, you as the leader do not have to do everything. As a matter of fact, that is what we all should always remember, that as leaders we are not supposed to be doing everything. And remember, the moment we try to do everything, we are no longer a leader. So if you want to remain a leader, then make sure that you don't do everything by yourself. Rather, you get it done from everybody. And everybody meaning what? Everybody meaning the people who understand that job. So now, rule number three for the risk management is seek experience. And remember, mathematical models do not do the risk management. Mathematical models will only guide you, will only give you some indication. The actual risk management has to be done by the human beings. So seek experience. Number four, know what you don't know. That is again rule number 4 for the purpose of risk management. जो आपको मालूम नहीं है वो आप औरों से मालूम करिए और मालूम करके उसको take care of that agree. Rule number 5, communicate. I think somebody was mentioning when I was asking all of you as to how to do the risk management. Communicate. Risk should be discussed openly. Diversify. Multiple risks will produce more consistent rewards. So diversify. So why all these companies, mega corporations, why do they have different products, multiple plants all over? And one reason for having multiple plants, one reason for having multiple products, one reason for having diverse products is diversification. Rule number 7, show discipline. Rule number 8, use common sense. And rule number 9, the return is only half the equation. So please remember, you are taking a decision in your business. Do not be driven in decision making only by the return. Remember, return is one side of the coin, and the other side of the coin is the risk. So when you take a decision, do not take a decision by looking at only one side, and that is return. You also look at the other side, and that is the risk. So these are, friends, the 9 rules of risk management that the companies across the globe will follow while framing their risk management policies, and while framing their SOPs for the risk management, and while communicating internally with all the people with regard to the risk management for their organizations. The practice number 2, friends, I would like to share with you. Remember the rule of 1-10-100. Remember the rule of 1-10-100 in risk management. Rule of 1, 10 and 100. Now what is this rule of 1, 10 and 100 in risk management? This rule of 1, 10 and 100 in risk management, it means if it cost $1 to prevent, it will cost $10 to stop and $100 to put it right afterwards. So what is the rule of 1, 10 and 100? A rule of 1, 10 and 100, and please remember this needs to be educated to everyone in the organization कि अगर कोई चीज़ गड़बड़ हो सकती है, वो गड़बड़ ना हो, उसके लिए $1 खर्च करने की जरूरत है. उसको $1 खर्च करने की जरूरत है. तो अगर डॉलर खर्च करेंगे, अगर if you spend $1, then you will prevent a wrong event from happening. And number 2, if that event happens before the consequences follow, you will have to spend $10. And if you don't spend that $10, so if you don't spend $1, you will have to spend $10 in stopping it. And if you don't spend $10 in stopping it, then you will have to spend $100 afterwards. And उसका जो consequences होंगे, for that you will have to spend $100. So therefore, it is better to spend $1 than to spend $10. It is better to spend $10 than to spend $100. It basically means, and that is 1 stitch in time saves 9, and that is risk management. 1 stitch in time saves 9. यानी कि अगर जो आपको एक्शन सही समय पे लेना, अगर आपने वो एक्शन ले लिया तो $1 से काम हो जाएगा. अगर वो आपने एक्शन नहीं लिया तो आपको $10 खर्च करने पड़ेंगे, और वो $10 भी आपने खर्च नहीं किए तो फिर आपको $100 खर्च करने पड़ेंगे. And that is what remember and make a mental note of it. Rule of 1, 10 and $100. Now, as I was telling you, friends, and we discussed in the beginning, for risk management, another thing which is very critical and crucial is to build the culture of risk management. Please remember, risk management is less a matter of knowledge, it's a more a matter of mindset, it's more a matter of attitude. So, as an organization, as a professional, we understand that business and risk go hand in hand. Business and risk go hand in hand. And that is why, as a company secretary, as a professional, as a businessman, I cannot afford to ignore that there is no risk. याद रखिए, कबूतर के आंख बंद करने से बिल्ली भागती नहीं है. सो कबूतर, बिल्ली सामने आई और कबूतर आंखें बंद कर लेता है. कबूतर आंखें बंद कर लेता है क्या सोच के कि मैं आंखें बंद करूंगा इसका मतलब बिल्ली गायब हो जाएगी. याद रखिए, बिल्ली गायब होती नहीं है. Isn't it? And that is what we need to remember. So, as a businessman, as a professional, as a company secretary, we understand that the business and the risk go hand in hand. If I am in business, I have a risk in my business, and that risk has to be taken care. And if that risk has to be taken care, please remember that risk is to be taken care of not by the chairman of the company, not by the managing director of the company, not by the board of directors of the company, not by the CEO of the company, not by the CFO of the company. That risk of that business has to be taken care of by everyone. So everyone has to contribute in one way or the other, and that is how. So that means what? That means you need to build culture of risk management. You need to build culture of risk management. I'm sure, friends, those of you who are practicing company secretaries, and those of you who are working company secretaries, whenever you attend a board meeting, as I was telling earlier also, always have a agenda item in the agenda of the board about the risk management. Of course, the audit committee has to do it, the risk management committee has to do it, the board of directors also has to do it. But many times, out of ignorance, or because SEBI LODR is not applicable, or because statutorily we may not require we may not require to comply with certain provisions. Please remember, these provisions are to be taken care of not because they are part of the law. These provisions are taken care of because that is the need of the hour, that is the need of the business. So make sure that you have a one line item in the agenda, that is risk management. What are the steps the company has taken for the risk management and things like that. Even if a risk management committee is not mandatory for your business, have a risk management committee appointed for your business. It is not going to cost you much, but it will take care of the risks of your business. Absolutely essential. Remember, whatever the law says, law has to say because we don't do it. Remember, LODR is there. Why LODR is not there? Because companies don't do anything about the corporate governance. If the companies were doing if the companies were following good corporate governance by themselves, the government would not bring any law. Government bring any law because companies don't follow. And that is what that means. What that means, voluntarily we should start that practice. So how to build a culture of risk management? So for the purpose of building culture of risk management, we need to understand what is risk culture. Ethical standards should be high. Number one, risk culture means ethical standards should be high. Number two, the risk culture should fit vision and mission of the business. Number three, risk appetite and culture should be clearly prescribed by leadership. So if you have a risk management committee, if you have risk management set up in your organization, if you have a risk management department in your organization, obviously that department will have a specific responsibility to create awareness about the risk management, to create awareness about the risk management all across the organization. Make sure that everybody is educated about the risk management, and this is how you will build the risk culture in the organization. And here the leadership must set the tone of risk management. The leadership must set the set the tone of the risk management in the organization. So what are the traits of strong risk culture? Number one, awareness for need and importance of risk management. So कैसे मालूम पड़ेगा कि ये organization में risk culture है कि नहीं है? तो what is the degree of awareness for need and importance of risk management in a particular organization. If you talk to a CEO and ask him, sir, what are you doing about the risk management of your business? And if your CEO says, no, no, there is no problem in my business, everything is safe and secure, I have this person, I have that person, he's doing this, that is, he's doing that, do not have to worry about. Do not have to worry about the risk. I can tell you that is company you have to worry as far as the risk is concerned. So another trait of strong risk culture is ownership. Is the top management worried about the risk management? Do they talk about risk management? Do they pay enough attention about the risk management? Do you have enough number of board members in the risk management committee? Do you have the risk management committee of the board meeting regularly? Now, if that is what is happening, that's a sign that there's a good and a strong risk culture in the organization. Continuous training and education, acknowledging risk, encouraging transparency, ensuring respect for risk, and understanding that everyone has a role in risk management. If that is what is happening in a business, you would think that this business has got the risk culture. Now, friends, what are the hidden causes of occurred risk? Now, let me tell you, more often than not, as far as the risk is concerned, you would realize a risk in a business is like an iceberg. Risk in a business is like an iceberg. Only 10% is visible and 90% is merged under the water. So, why these hidden causes of risk in the business? ये जो surprises होते हैं business में, जो shocks होते हैं business में. Now say for example, what is happening to this company called Evergrande in China that we were discussing in the beginning of this session. It's not that things were not going wrong. It's not that people within the company were not aware, but why did it blow out of proportion? Because there was no transparency, and people had the attitude कि हो सकता है ऐसी करके निकल जाएगा, and it does not happen. So we need to understand what are the reasons for hidden risks in a business. And please understand, the reason number one is inability to see the big picture, misuse of historical data. So, going by the past, and please remember, past never guarantees the future. But many times people tend to think that the future is going to be same like as past. Unfortunately, it does not happen. So, misuse of historical data. Number three, negligence of foreseeable risk. वो दिख रहा है सामने कि गलत हो रहा है, लेकिन ठीक है, जाने दो, हो जाएगा ठीक अपने आप, कुछ परवाह करने की जरूरत नहीं है. But it doesn't work. Non-visibility on tail end risk. So एक बड़ा इवेंट हो चुका है, खाली पीछे का छोटा सा बाकी रह गया है. And please remember, and that is what happens in most of the cases when the big events are taking place. 90%, 95% of things has happened, and when it comes to the end, people tend to become complacent. अरे अब तो हो गया, अब क्या चिंता करने की जरूरत है? And that complacency towards the tail end results into a hidden risk. Internal communication deficits. The purchase department is not talking to the finance department is not talking to the production department is not talking to the purchase department is not talking to the technology department is not talking to the HR department. Now, if there is no communication in an organization within different departments, risk is bound to be there. Unclear ownership. So, कौन मालिक है, कौन ओनर है, it is not decided. That would also result into hidden risks. And overconfidence, as I was telling you, friends, in the beginning, and giving the example of Titanic, right? So the E.J. Smith was the captain of Titanic, and he said, before starting to sail, he said, never in all history have we harnessed such a formidable technology. Every scientific advancement known to man has been incorporated into its design. And this is what E.J. Smith is talking about Titanic. And he further says, he says, the operational controls are sound and foolproof. And you know what happened to the Titanic? In the very first sail of it sank. And so these are, friends, are the hidden causes for the risk, and that we need to be that we need to be careful, and we need to take care. So the worst obstacle in risk management, as I said in the beginning, number one is overconfidence, and number two is complacency. And friends, here I would like to give you an example, and this is how I learned my lessons in. I learned my lessons in risk management. I was working with a company called ArcelorMittal, and as head for learning and development in finance, I was traveling all over the globe, delivering programs in Americas, Europe, Asia, Russia, Middle East, Africa, everywhere. And what I would do, I would go to a particular location and be there for a week or two. And for all the plants that we would have in that area for ArcelorMittal, I would go to those locations and deliver training program. I was in Paris for a week, and it was Friday. I delivered my last training program of that week, and I was returning from Paris to Luxembourg, which is at a distance of 2 hours only, traveling by TGV. TGV is the bullet train. Now, carrying my bag, I come to the railway station in Paris, and I'm thinking, Paris is, and I saw a lot of police people, well dressed and heavily loaded police people. I said to myself, uh, so Paris is quite safe and secure. So now I'm tired. I'm just going to go in the train and keep my baggage and going to sleep for next 2 hours, because Luxembourg was the last stop in any case. And that is complacency. क्या सोचा मैंने कि बहुत सेफ जगह है, कोई चिंता करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, और सब आराम से होगा, 2 घंटे सोऊंगा आराम से, और लग्जमबर्ग में जाके ट्रेन रुकेगी, और वहाँ जाके मैं मेरे होटल चला जाऊंगा. And friends, I slept, and about after an hour when I woke up and I lifted and saw on that loft, that place where you put your bag, I saw both my bags were not there. And then I tried to talk to TT and things like that, but nothing happened. Came to Luxembourg, talked to the police, and told him that this is what has happened. Police said the train that you came by has already gone back, so now nothing can be done. Complacency. Remember, where you are complacent, there the degree of risk is highest. There the degree is of highest. वो कहते हैं ना कि विश्वासघात कहाँ होता है? जहाँ विश्वास होता है वहाँ विश्वासघात होता है. तो रिस्क सबसे ज़्यादा कहाँ पर है? जहाँ पर आप सबसे ज़्यादा कॉम्प्लेसेंट हैं, रिस्क वहाँ पर सबसे ज़्यादा है. तो रिस्क मैनेजमेंट का फंडामेंटल सोर्सेज ऑफ रिस्क आर ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस एंड कॉम्प्लेसेंसी. As company secretaries, as professional, as businessmen, make sure that you are never complacent about the risk management. You never take the things for granted कि अब सब ठीक हो गया, अब कुछ गलत नहीं हो सकता. And remember, whenever you think that अब कुछ गलत नहीं हो सकता, chances ये है कि वहाँ पर गलत जरूर होगा. And that is what you must remember. So friends, with this we come to the conclusion, and in the conclusion, let me just share with you what is risk management, or what risk management is not. So अब तक हमने क्या डिस्कस किया? अब तक हमने डिस्कस किया कि what is risk management. And now let me tell you, friends, what is not risk management. What is not risk management? So please remember, number one, risk management is not a method to eliminate all risks. So भूल के भी ये मत समझिए कि रिस्क मैनेजमेंट का मतलब है कि सारी रिस्क को एलिमिनेट करना. दुनिया का कोई भी इंसान, दुनिया का कोई भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, दुनिया में कोई भी रिस्क को कंप्लीटली एलिमिनेट नहीं कर सकता है, लेकिन रिस्क के अगेंस्ट में बंदोबस्त कर सकता है, एंड दैट इज रिस्क मैनेजमेंट. सो व्हाट इज नॉट रिस्क मैनेजमेंट? नंबर वन, a method to eliminate all risk. that it is not risk management. A collection of long standing functions stuck together is not risk management. Risk management is not a guarantee that nothing will go wrong now. सो रिस्क मैनेजमेंट का मतलब ये नहीं है कि अब आपको पक्का हो गया, आपने आपकी कंपनी में आपने सारे सब चीज़ें इकट्ठी कर दी रिस्क मैनेजमेंट के लिए. देयर इज रिस्क मैनेजमेंट कमेटी, देयर इज एन ऑडिट कमेटी, देयर इज अ बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स, एंड ऑल दी प्रोविजंस आर बीइंग टेकन केयर ऑफ. नाउ you cannot think that now nothing will go wrong. No, that is not risk management. Risk management is not a rigid set of rules. Risk management is not clearly defining right and wrong answers, and that is what we must remember as to what risk management is not. So risk management does not mean that you are eliminating all the risks. So risk management is good management practice. Risk management is good management practice, process steps that enable improvement in decision making, a logical and systematic approach, and that is what is risk management. And now a question to all of you friends, and I would like all of you to answer. And this question is, who do you think is responsible for the risk in the business? And that's the question which is to all of you. So this is the question that is for all of you, and the question is, as you can see on your screen, who should be responsible in business for risk management? And the answer is
Audit committee.
audit committee. Okay, very good.
Everyone, every employee.
Everyone.
Management.
Management, yes.
Every employee of this organization.
Okay. 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 Now let me tell you friends, who should be responsible in business. I think somebody's microphone needs to be muted. Yeah, please mute yourself. Okay, thank you. So who should be responsible in business for risk management? Let me tell you friends a story. A work was to be done. एक काम था जो होना था, and there were 4 people, and these 4 people were somebody, anybody, nobody and everybody. एक छोटा सा काम था जो होना था, and there were 4 people, somebody, anybody, everybody and nobody. This job that was to be done, it was so simple. This job that was to be done, it was so simple that anybody could have done it. It was so simple that anybody could have done it. But everybody thought that somebody will do it, and that is why nobody did it. And that's why friends I say the risk management in any organization is responsibility of everyone, including myself. So friends, with this we come to the end of this session on risk management and mitigation. We still have some time left, so in case if you have any question, I would be very happy to answer to all your questions and your queries. Thank you so much to every one of you, and thank you Ketan and CCGRT for inviting me and taking this session. Thank you so much, and wish you a very nice evening. Thank you.